antics too. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, and mosquitoes too.
100% of California is now in a drought, and if you could believe it, it could get even worse. Farmers in the state looking for a lifeline. Thousands of their acres of land dried up. NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson is in Orville, California. Steve, you're on top of the second largest reservoir in the state overlooking Lake Orville. Show us what's going on there. Explain this one for us. It sounds pretty horrible.
It is horrible. It's horrible for millions of residents who rely on fresh water, and they do it based upon the reservoir system here in California. There are thousands of reservoirs across the state, and they supply not only towns, municipalities, cities, but also farmers who need this fresh water to irrigate crops and to do their work. We can actually show you right now what's happening at this reservoir. This is the second largest, as you mentioned, in the state. It supplies fresh water to millions. You can take a look and see that almost the sort of bathtub ring effect in the middle of the lake. The water level should be much higher. You should see it on the sides there. The water would actually be in that space, but it's not, obviously, because most of the water is gone here. It should be about 80% full. Right now it's at about 37%. That is dire for a number of reasons. If it goes any lower, it could risk a shutoff to the hydroelectric plant that this lake fuels, which means more stress on California's power grid, which is dangerous when we may be heading into a potentially dangerous fire season, but also just for the generality of it's hot and it's dry. And secondly, obviously, people need this water, especially, as I mentioned, farmers. Farmers are in a really bad way because they have to leave a lot of their crops fallow or unseeded. I spoke to a farmer in the Central Valley who said he has about a 2,000-acre farm. He's left 600 acres of that farm left unseeded. That is a huge cost to him, somewhere in the seven-figure range, and it means that he's had to already lay off about 70 workers. That could increase if this drought gets worse and the year goes on and it gets hotter and drier as it's expected to. Here's what he said about the fear of that. Listen to what he said.
I'm pretty scared this year, actually, yes, because we've never been in this kind of uncertainty before. I probably can't do this again next year. I can't do it again. It's too tough.
A lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty. He's lucky in the fact that he diversified early. So he has a number of different crops that he could use, some that don't need as much water as others. So he has the ability to do that. And also, he's getting some of his water shipped in from other farms across the state that have more water. But some farms obviously have one crop and aren't able to do that. And even with him doing that, there's still just not enough water to go around. It is a real crisis that starts at the farm and will probably end up at the table. Allison?
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, Steve, because we know how important California is as a producer for this country. The Central Valley grows more than a third of the vegetables in the entire U.S., plus 2/3 of the fruits and nuts. I mean, what kind of supermarket shortages or shortages could we be looking at because of that? Should shoppers start getting concerned?
Yeah, fruits, berries, nuts, essentially all the artichokes you eat, all the almonds you eat come from California. So It's a huge deal. It's too early to tell whether or not this is going to cause, complete shortages in the grocery store a few months from now, simply because it's not obviously the harvest for a lot of these crops. But the farmer I spoke to, Joe Del Bosque, he was in that clip that you just saw, basically said that there is no way to avoid this if this goes on like it does. And this could last not only the next few months, but years and years and years. There's no way you won't feel the pain at the grocery store as those items become more limited, because again, they all come from the same place. That's what people need to realize. So if they don't get the water, we don't get the crops, we don't get the groceries when we head to the grocery store. Allison?
Steve, last month, Governor Newsom announced $5 billion plus to deal with water infrastructure and droughts. Where's that money going, and will it help these particular farmers?
So a lot of the money is going into what's called groundwater management. In other words, the way municipalities handle how they allocate the resource of water, which is so key, so important. That will help. But also, it does provide some financial assistance for farmers. What it doesn't have, according to the farmer I spoke to, again, Joe, He said there isn't particular infrastructure for water storage. In other words, they aren't building more of these basins, more, of these reservoirs that can hold water, so something like this doesn't happen again. That's the number one thing I've heard from farmers, especially in the Central Valley, where the access is much more limited. They want more actual structures built to hold water so they don't have to borrow from other parts of the state, so they can avoid this limited, sort of resource that's now going on and will continue to go on as we move into what's going to be probably a pretty difficult wildfire season as well. Allison?
Yeah, Steve, it's horrible to think that it's just early June and they're dealing with all that already. Steve Patterson, thank you so much.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe.
Shalom, shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakar Kadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS that rule and teach what the scripture citations, to my Akim that are doing this work in truth and faith and all sincerity. Today's lesson is going to be about prophecy. Okay, it's just a caption on the news about what's going on and what's happening with the world, what's going on and what's happening with Esau Edom's kingdom and the downfall of the society. So now, as we were aware, from the intro of this newscast, there were, talking about, there being a drought and supermarkets are going to see a price hike, an increase, at the local grocery stores. Okay, where people do majority of their shopping for food. And so, that's just, it's another form of prophecy that the Most High is bringing to the world, and especially to Babylon, aka America. And so one of them, okay, just like you have lots of earthquakes in the land, a lot of the people don't know or don't understand this is the judgment of Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. Okay, so we will go into let's go to Luke chapter 21 verse 11, and it reads, great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilence and fearful sights and great signs shall be there from heaven. So this is coming from up top. Okay, as we know and understand in the world, shit rolls down here. Well, guess what? The Most High is upset. That shit's gonna roll downhill. Okay, and this place is gonna be judged exceedingly. Okay, for many of violations against Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai. So, earthquakes being another prophecy that's being fulfilled in this particular lifetime. Okay, the Lord is not going to turn a blind eye anymore to this place. As a matter of fact, it was prescribed when this place was going to go under, when this place was going to be destroyed, because the Most High is unhappy with it, and because of the words that came out of the mouth of our Father. Okay, so Matthew 24 verse 7. Okay, these are just some precepts for pestilence and famine. Okay, which, the point being made is famine. There's going to be a lot of starvation out here. Lord willing, this continues to go on. Okay, a lot of these people need judgment. There's no other way. Matthew 24 verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And the 7 years of Salakia. So we must understand that Okay, the Most High is very, very angry at the world, and he's very angry at the wicked. And so, Lord willing, this is going to be short and sweet and to the point. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying, giving our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakar Kadash, and until next time. Shalom.